Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I will be talking about, I'm Elise Dreaming. Today I will be talking about She-Hulk. Um, okay, so I'm going to do something different. Instead of reviews for each channel, for each episode, I'm going to talk about some of the issues with the show, not in a sense of like berating the show or like issues in fandom misogyny, like because I feel like this is a really good example of how Disney, Marvel kind of like are just completely dropping the ball. Like, because we were promised like a courtroom drama with humor, you know? And then there was this, I can't remember what poster it was. I'll find the link. I'll find the link and post it in the description. And I think it's something like, like we had several episodes focusing on Abomination's court trial, but we ended up none of us were in the writers' room were good at doing court scenes or during court scenes. And I'm like, there's so many legal dramas out there, like Scott Turow movies. I mean, I don't know if I know he's like from the 90s and early 2000s. No, I think it's 90s. But like there's this one, I think he wrote the book and then Raul Julia was in the movie. But he had some really good books. And I remember reading him in high school and thinking he was awesome. But like Scott Turow, I would have thought that's definitely the kind of writer that you need to get like the sense of a good courtroom drama. And then like maybe just like those clashing bits of, like the funny aspects, the outrageousness of her being a She-Hulk, and then the gravity of her legal career and defending people that bringing people to justice and stuff in a courtroom drama. I thought that would have been amazing. That's the kind of thing I was kind of thinking it was going to be like Aaron Brockovich, but with an actual law degree, or like I'm trying to think of other ones. But anyways, so like that's one aspect is the fact that why did they even hire these writers if they're not versed in legal matters, like they should have hired somebody that had a background in courtroom dramas, or like how many Law and Order shows are there, like they could have hired somebody that has more experience in writing courtroom dramas. So that's one issue. And I think I'm going to just limit this to 3 issues with regards to this episode. And the second issue is, and with the show in general, and there's been a lot of talk ever since the first trailer came out for She-Hulk. And that's, I need more, I have water. And that's the whole issue of the CGI being bad. Personally, I don't have a good eye for art and CGI in general, but even I can tell that it's not the best. Like she looks very smooth, and like if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, Gamora, even though she's green, she's got like texture to her skin. She's got like some prosthesis on her face, and she still very much looks like Zoe Saldana, just in green. But with Tatiana Maslany, I feel like they lose a lot of her expressions when she's She-Hulked out, Like they lose, and the thing about Tatiana Maslany is that she's an excellent actress. Like anybody who's seen Orphan Black can tell you that she can pull off micro expressions and like completely convince you that she's different people. And I actually was going through and watching Orphan Black with a friend of mine for the past few months in preparation for She-Hulk. And I feel like the CGI is just not doing it for me. And it's not just that the CGI isn't up to par. It's also the fact that I'll have to include some GIFs and like maybe some pictures. But like I want to talk about how that's the third issue, is the fact that Well, how do I put this? Most of the time when I was reading She-Hulk comics, there was a very big difference between Jennifer Walters, the normal human, and She-Hulk, the big green monster. And because, not like, for lack of a better word, I mean, she's big as She-Hulk. She's big, she's muscular. I was thinking she was going to be the female Hulk, in the sense that he's very big, he's very blocky, he can't get through things, he needs a big truck, he needs all these adaptations to work comfortably. But she just looks like a supermodel with big boobs and big hair. And like, she's not really hulked out. I mean, we're back to that, like, um that whole controversy with Wonder Woman, where everyone was like, but Gal Gadot's too thin to be Wonder Woman. And she did gain some weight, and she did, like, bulk up a little bit, but she was still very thin. And like, even though nobody would call Lucy Lawless fat, like, she was more athletic on Xena than I think Gal Gadot was, because honestly, Gal Gadot was a lot of CGI, and like, there's a huge difference between Xena, where she and her stunt person had to do a lot of their own fighting and stuff, whereas Gal Gadot, you can tell that stuff is CGI. And like, I wouldn't have minded if they'd even gotten they just, I don't know, like, it's so hard, because like, we were talking about it on the blog today on Phantom State Women, and like, somebody was saying that, well, I don't know, I brought up the fact of the sexual dimorphism. Like, humans are not sexually dimorphic anymore. And I've got this on authority from an anthropologist who's got a master's degree. And she's like, no, humans don't have sexual dimorphism anymore. Most of the, differences between females and males are simply because of cultural expectations. And that makes sense. I mean, if you are teaching little girls to play house and little boys to play football, they're going to develop differently. And like, okay, so She-Hulk is doing a bunch of stuff. Like, they have this whole montage where Bruce Banner, Smart Hulk and She-Hulk are like doing yoga and stuff, and like, she's like doing a bunch of things and making fun of him for being all rawr. But I mean, that was kind of the fun thing about She-Hulk, was like, she was very much this big, sexy, statuesque kind of lady. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating, because I remember reading, when I first read the She-Hulk novelization, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 years ago. It might have been during the pandemic. But I remember thinking that at some point, I think they said she was 600 pounds of green bombshell, I think, something like that. And like, I was picturing this 7-foot tall bodybuilder type of situation, like, with plenty of curves, and we get this supermodel looking person with just big boobs, and I'm sick of that. I'm just so sick of that. I mean, I would like some body positivity for people who are like different sizes, and like there's just like, okay, I'm gonna diverge a little bit, but it does, I promise, it does go in with this whole thing. Like, okay, in the Olympics, they were talking about unqualifying black women because supposedly they were too masculine, right? They had too much testosterone. And that's something that I think could have been touched upon with She-Hulk. Like maybe instead of maybe making it a color issue, like a race issue, it could have been like maybe her body makes too much testosterone when she's a She-Hulk, and that's why she's big and bulky. You know, that could have been something interesting. And like the misogynoir angle of how, you know, women of color or black women are discriminated against in the Olympics because they're too big and or too strong or too excellent, all that kind of stuff. And it's not just black women. There's I can't remember if it was Katie Ledecky, the swimmer, that was beating all the boys in the swimming pool, and like they were just like the coaches pulled out their boys from the pool because she was training, and they were training, and boys were like seeing how fantastic she was. So it's not just a race issue. It's an issue about what makes a woman is not this turfy bullshit of biological essentialism, which is bullshit. Gender is a construct, you know, like, and why does it always have to be like the ideal woman, even if she's like super strong and stuff, has to be waif-like? It's just frustrating. But I will say, because I am talking about the first episode, I will say that I'm excited to see Jamila Jamil's character. I can't remember what her character's name is right now, because they didn't even give her a name in this episode. But I'm excited to see what her problem is, like why she's an antagonist. She didn't get much screen time in the trailers, and I think Titania is her name. I can't remember. But like Jamila Jamil's like very tall and stuff, but like I feel like they put her, I feel like they're gonna put her on the back burner compared to Abomination and Bruce's like situation. Like I just get the feeling that they're not gonna give her a proper villain's arc. And like as a whole, the show, you know, She-Hulk is so far very white, and I think they could have fixed that by giving her like a woman of color for her paralegal, or maybe not make the whole first episode just her, and not just Jennifer Walters She-Hulk and Bruce Banner Smart Hulk. I would have appreciated maybe sprinkle that in, because it was like, I don't know, I feel like Hulk is overwhelming the She-Hulk show, which, you know, I love Mark Ruffalo. I think he's a fantastic actor. He's a great humanitarian, but I feel like it's overshadowing She-Hulk, because we've had Hulk movies. We've had him in so many MCU films now. We've seen him over and over again, and we have the 80s show to reflect upon, and like I just feel like now was Jennifer Walters' time to shine, and I'm worried that it's gonna be like marginalizing She-Hulk in her own show, you know? Like this should be Tatiana Maslany's time to shine, and I feel like instead of like they're just calling it the She-Hulk show, but it's really the Hulk show with his little cousin. So I was frustrated by that, and when you compare it to the novelization, where like she was trying to figure out, like in the novelization, it doesn't bear a lot of comparisons to the comic books, but she was having a hard time figuring out her life outside of She-Hulk, because as She-Hulk, she was a party monster. She loved to rescue people, wreak havoc, and all that kind of stuff. And like and as Jen Walters, she was very much a legal mind, very like timid, and I don't know. I should probably reread it, because I think I bought it, and then give you my thoughts on that, and then I'll do some comparisons of the comic books and the show and give you more of my thoughts on that instead of actually just talking about the show, because like I think the show, if I was to have come into the show without any knowledge of the comics or the novelization, I would have been very happy because the acting is incredible with Tatiana Maslany and Mark Ruffalo. I think they're both fantastic actors, but I don't feel like it was a She-Hulk show. You know, I just don't. And I feel like they're stripping away everything that made her unique as a She-Hulk, and they're just making her a generic Wonder Woman looking type character, except she's green. You know? And what is this obsession with painting women different colors in like superhero movies and stuff? Like, you've got Nebula who's blue, Gamora who's green. You've got there's that one little character in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. She's like very pink looking. There was like a whole bunch of pink looking women. And then yeah, like Mantis, even though she's an Asian woman, she's supposed to be some sort of insectoid. So like she's not really like, and like they make her look like like different too. Like she looks, Pom Clemente looks very different in real life than Mantis. But yeah, like this, and then, you know, like when you talk about Star Wars and stuff, where so many women of color have been painted, body painted, and you know, like the first Twi'lek on film in Return of the Jedi is actually a black woman. The one that gets eaten by that monster under Jabba the Hutt's like little, in his little little thing in his, you know, his palace, that was a woman of color. And like in general, Twi'leks on Star Wars were played by women of color. And it's just so frustrating because, like, I mean, it's more frustrating being a woman of color and seeing so many women of color body painted and stuff, like that one from Return of the Jedi, like that Twi'lek from Return of the Jedi, like Zoe Saldana in Guardians of the Galaxy. And now, where is Zoe Saldana? She's nowhere to be seen in the MCU. It's just frustrating. But I like the show for what it is, which is a fun MCU romp. That's fun. I just hope it doesn't get overshadowed by Bruce Banner and Hulk shenanigans, because I know they're bringing in Abomination. I know they're gonna have like all this retreading the history between Hulk and Abomination. Yeah. Anyways, I have to go. This whole review is getting to be almost 19 minutes long, so I'm just going to say I will be watching and I will upload another video next Saturday. All right, thank you. Bye.